Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be explaining basically everything about commands that there really is to know, or not everything, more just the basics, and enough to make you a command beginner, so you at least know what you're doing whenever you try to, I don't know, summon a chicken jockey or something. Now you kind of know what to do. Yeah, anyway, so I'm just going to go over everything from the command blocks, like literally just what different things are, to the settings, to like a million commands that I think everyone should know. Yeah, I think there's like 16 of them. Yeah, anyway, so hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm just gonna jump straight into it. Alright, so here are all the command blocks. Some of you might know this, but I'm trying to get everything from the noobs to the pros a little bit. So, this is the impulse command block. You change it to impulse, it's the default one, but if you want to change it, you go to block type, and then you select impulse, and you leave all these other settings by default. And of course, I typed in a summon command that summons a pig. I'll go over that later, but it summons a pig on top of it. So if I kill him, drop stuff, put it away, pretty simple. So that impulse command, just once it receives power, it runs the command once. The repeating command block is similar, but it runs it every tick, so it's gonna give me a diamond block literally every tick until I unflick this lever. So it gave me 50. And I'll go over how to make it so it doesn't do it every tick and only some ticks later, but for now, I just know it does it every tick. So the chain command block, it doesn't do anything on its own, and actually I don't have another command block, so let me give myself that real quick. Yeah. So basically, whenever another command block faces into it, like this, and then this is triggered, then it will run. And make sure the arrows are facing into it or it won't work. So chain command block, that's the way you can make it so multiple commands run at once. And actually, that's the only way you can do it, because you cannot put multiple commands in one command block, sadly. It'd actually be pretty cool if you could, but you can use chain command blocks to do that yourself. Alright, so this next one, I'm only going over these now just to clear chat spam, and also just going over the /game_role command real quick. So /game_role basically just lets you toggle different things, like do mob spawning, do daylight cycle, entity drops, all this stuff, and you can toggle it between true or false, and that's how you can just change settings in your world with commands instead of going into settings. So basically, what these two are gonna do, it's gonna change command block output to false, so we don't get chat spam from the command blocks running commands all the time. And then send command feedback. That's really only useful for whenever you're using a /execute command and stuff, which you haven't seen my video about that, and you're kind of a commands beginner-ish. I would highly recommend watching that, because the execute command is the most useful command in Minecraft. I don't think anyone would argue with me on that if they knew what they were doing. So yeah, I highly recommend watching that. I should put it up. It should pop up top right corner. But yeah. So basically, this is another way to get rid of chat spam. So yeah, you should almost always do that whenever you make any sort of thing like with repeating command blocks. So I'm gonna go over the settings now. So this is needs redstone. It's on by default, and you already saw it. But basically, if I press this, whenever the button puts a redstone signal into it, I get an endermite spot egg, because I typed that in with give command. So yeah, pretty simple. Just redstone impulse equals command run. This next one, always active, which right now it's set to needs redstone, so it's not toggled on so it's not doing it while I'm explaining. But basically, if I set this to always active, regardless of the redstone input, it's just gonna give me a ton of dirt. So go ahead and turn it off. But basically, that's just how you can run commands that like keep going in your world. I use it a lot. Sometimes you want to, like with kill counters and stuff, you want to have stuff checking every single tick or every so often, which is why we have tick delay, which at the bottom here says delay and ticks. This is sadly only in Bedrock, but if this were in Java, I think Java's command system would be perfect. So if one of the Mojang guys is watching this, yeah, please add that. That would be amazing. Anyway, so basically 20 ticks is 1 second, and basically what this does is it gives me dirt every second. Or you could change it to however many ticks you want. But just know 1 tick is a 20th of a second, so that's good to know. Alright, so that's tick delay. So far, pretty simple. So these next two are a little bit weird, but they're not too bad. I think as long as you get the gist of what you're doing. So basically, conditional makes it so a command block will only trigger if the one before it did, or if the one before it triggered successfully, if they ran this command successfully. So basically, like I said, check out my slash execute command video if you want to know about that. But basically, it's execute if the block, one block in the x direction, which should actually be right here. If that block right there is air, then it will give the nearest player dirt. So comes up something like this, and then also with commands this command block here. A lot of this probably looks like foreign language to a lot of you. Just know that that just says there was no problem executing the previous command in chat. That's all it does. Basically, this command block only executes if this command block gives me the dirt. If I put a different block here, then I don't get my dirt, and that won't trigger either. But if I go and remove it, it thing shows up in chat. So yeah, it can sometimes be useful, but actually there's other ways you can replicate it. So I don't use conditional command blocks a ton, but I think it has its place sometimes. So this next one, exact same command here, it gives me a dirt. And then this one, the only difference here is it says this command executes no matter what, because it's unconditional, which is the default setting. Which also, this is where you change it to unconditional or conditional. So basically, give me a dirt. Say this command executes no matter what. Even if I make that not dirt, I won't get my not air. I won't get my dirt, but that command will still execute. So just wanted to go over those. Honestly, I don't think you use conditional a ton, and unconditional is you're going to use the most often. So I just want to go over those. This next one, it's hover note. This is just a good way to label your command blocks. I didn't even put anything in this one. I just put up here. It'll say hover note, but I just put high for demonstration purposes. So yeah, whenever you hover over it, it says high. Or you could say like I don't know, say this was the beginning of a kill counter. You could say like begin checking for players that are dead or whatever. Anyway, so now we're on to the commands I think everyone should know. I think there's like 16 of them. And some of these range from very, very simple to a little bit complex. And then I'd say slash fill is the most complicated one, but also the most simple one in a way. So I'll get to that. But this first one, slash give, very simple. I'm sure a lot of you know this, but I'm just going over it for demonstration purposes. You slash give, where you don't have to use the slash command blocks. Then at P is nearest player, which you'd at S if you're running this in chat. And then diamond block, or whatever the name of it is. Then I think you can do some stuff with like data and then JSON components, but I'm not going to go over that. So it just gives me one diamond block. And also, if you want to give a player more than one, you could say 4 like that. It gives me 4 diamond blocks. Then this next one, slash replace item, is like slash give, but it's basically you can use it to determine where you want the item to go in your inventory instead of just wherever the next free spot is. What I mean by that is I know this probably looks like a little bit to look at, and I know it looks kind of weird. So basically, you slash replace item, and then first I should probably explain. There's a block subcommand, which is what this chest here for, and there's also an entity subcommand right after the slash replace item. I'm gonna go over the entity one first. So slash replace item entity at S. So you do that. That'd be whatever you want, whichever player you want to get that. Then there's a whole bunch of options here. So it's always gonna start with slot dot, and then say I want to put on my helmet. So I'd say slot dot armor head, and the slot ID. If there's only one slot in that specific area, so I say 0 for that. Then then decide what item I want. So if that item usually can't go in, say like I put like an iron ingot on my head, that won't work. I'd have to be an iron helmet. Actually, some helmet is the only thing you put there. And then it'll ask for the amount. Obviously, even if I put like a million in there, it still won't even work because it just because there can only be one on your helmet at a time. So, but I think in Java Edition you can do that, but can't we do that in Bedrock? And then you can also add a data component, which obviously there's nothing for Iron Helmet, but some blocks like potion, like if you try to give yourself potion with a specific data value, which means like basically, say you want to jump boost one, you'd have to type in a certain number for whatever you want. If there's nothing, you just type in 0, and then you can also do JSON components, but that's you're not gonna really use that most of the time. So yeah, instead it's too big, it must be at least 64, but at most 64. So let's say it's 64. Like I said, it'll only give you one because that's how it works. So that's the entity one. The next one, the block one, is the only way to refill chests and other like container blocks without using coppers. So it's gonna start out with same thing, and then it says block instead of entity. Then you type in the coordinates of the block that you want, which these tildes, that means basically the position of the command block, and then the number after it means how much more or less. If you wanted to make it minus, like 2 blocks down, you do -2, but 2 blocks up is that chest in the command block. Then you say slot dot container, and then you say the slot ID that you want. So it goes from 0 to 26 because it starts at 0 and goes up to 26 because there's 27 slots. And then you type in item, which is dirt, and then you do the amount. So I'll also put 15 for that. So whenever I run this, place it there with 15 dirt. Even if I go and take this out just to prove I wasn't trolling you. So in the 15th, or I guess yeah, the 15th slot in, I guess actually the 14th slot because it goes from 0. Sorry, 16th slot because it goes starts at 0, and then it gives you 15 dirt. So I'd say it's pretty simple. A little bit much to work your head around. Honestly, I didn't even know this command existed like a month ago, so even I would have learned something from this video a month ago. So yeah, basically, well, kind of a lot, but pretty simple. This next one, slash fill, I would say is probably the most complicated one I'll go over, just because there's a whole bunch you can do with it, but it's also really simple, because at the end of the day, all you need is just 2 corners. So basically, the way it works is that it's the simplest way you can do it. Actually, I forgot I had it set to air. Say it's bedrock, so you can actually see what blocks are being filled. Basically, you slash fill, then you type in the coordinates of the basically you take 2 opposite corners of where you want to fill. So that can be flat or that can be like a cube or something. And then you take both those coordinates and then you type in the block that you want. And this is the simplest slash fill command. So it'll do. So as you can see, it makes a 4x4 cube here. And actually, the way you can get rid of stuff like this, you can just do the same thing with air if you want. That's how you can get rid of your fill blocks. So that'll get rid of that. So yeah, pretty simple, but there's a lot more you can do with this. So there's obviously this, but I'll go ahead and show you in chat so you can see everything. Say, I'm just going to use these as placeholder ones so I can show you. Then there's a whole bunch of different, also, I think there's a way you can add some kind of selector there, but I don't know why that exists. So there's destroy, hollow, keep, outline, and replace, which you can do afterward. And then I'll try to explain this, but basically, I'm going to go over with destroy and keep first because they're the most related. So keep, what keep does, sorry, you type in the bedrock, keep, and then at first when I run this, nothing special happens. But say let me get a grass block. Say I place those there. Now it won't replace those, but if I add some air blocks like this, it will replace those. But that means all keep does is it just ignores air blocks, basically. Or it only fills air blocks, sorry. So I'm going to put it back with air. Now this next one, destroy, is basically, again, I'll go ahead and fill that real quick. I'll go ahead and add a couple grass blocks here, and you'll see why in a second. So basically, whenever you do destroy, that will act as if you're actually destroying those blocks. So obviously bedrock won't drop, but that's weird. Sometimes it does that, but basically, in theory, the grass blocks to drop as items. Yeah, see, I don't know why it does that sometimes, but basically, the grass blocks actually drop as items as if you're breaking them, and everything else will also appear to break as well. So, kind of niche, not a ton really. I'd say that I don't use it a ton, but just wanted to go over that. So there's one more. So there's replace. So you can say bedrock replace, and then say I had grass block. So before I run this, I guess a better demonstration probably just to fill this with something else real quick. So actually, instead, I'll probably say let's replace block with bedrock. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to replace all the bedrock with the grass blocks. So I'll go ahead and add like some command blocks here. Like this. And also some air blocks. What that's going to do is it'll leave everything, but it'll change all the bedrock to grass blocks. So that's how you can replace blocks, and like you can replace specific blocks, which is actually pretty nice. I'll go ahead and get rid of that real quick. And that brings us to our last two, which is hollow and outline, which may sound a little bit similar on the surface, but they're slightly different in the way that basically hollow puts air blocks like inside where you're filling. Or I'll show you what they do first, then I'll explain that. So let's make it bedrock. We'll do hollow first. So it'll do it. It looks the same, but you can see the inside is actually hollow. But whenever let's say I place some grass blocks here. Those grass blocks are gone because it fills the inside with air blocks. If I were to do outline, yeah. Then we type an outline here. That is not how you spell outline. It'll actually keep those grass blocks there because it'll only make an outline of blocks instead of making making inside air blocks. So they both have their place. Honestly, the only one I think I really ever use is keep and replace the most. It's really the ones that I use the most sometimes. But for the most parts, those are just kind of that's basically everything you do with the slash fill command. So want to get that out of the way. Like I said, probably the most complicated one so far. And from here, all of these are pretty simple. So next one, slash damage, literally just applies damage to an entity. So you slash damage, then you do selector at P, and then you do how much damage points you want. So 1 does not mean 1 heart, it means 1 damage points, which means half a heart. 2 would be 1 heart, and then 20 would be a full 20 would be the full player's health. But another thing you can actually do with it. So let's say it's 20, so it kills me. And let's say I'll go and show you in chat. So slash damage at S, say 20. And then you can also do the cause of what it is. So let's say it's an anvil. That's just an example of one thing. And then you can say entity, but this doesn't really matter unless it does something where entity attack is the cause of death. So obviously I can't do that because I'm a creative. But I'll go under slash game mode, create, S, then run that. That's, oh wait, what am I doing? We're running it wrong. There. So now, say, Red is here, 8139, we're squashed by a flying anvil, so set the cause of death to that. Actually, I'll just run back over. And then there's one more thing I want to show you. So, what you can actually do, so say, there's a couple ones where so you can say entity attack, like this. And then you specify what entity. So let's say at S, so it'll come up with this death message. British Hero 139 was slain by British Hero 139, and you can make that any player you want. So that's actually a way you can make your own death messages, kind of. Not really, but kind of. And then one more thing you can do or actually two more things you can do. So there's entity explosion, which will just make it so I get exploded by myself. And there's one more, so actually that's no point running over. There's also Mace Smash, which basically just smash, like I'm hitting myself with a mace. And actually, I think if you kill yourself with magic, that will. I'm not quite sure what all these. There's probably more I don't know about. Yeah. So see, there's a lot of different ones. If you don't specify what entity it is, it'll just say the player died. Like literally, it'll say British Hero 81399. So yeah, sorry, that was probably a lot. It's kind of most of it's not really. Most of it's pretty useless, but I just want to go over that, and it's also pretty fun to make custom death messages like that. So yeah. Anyway, this next one /time. Sorry. Literally just sets the time. So you do /time, and then there's different. So there's 3 different subcommands. There's set, add, and query. So set just sets the time to like whatever time you say. So you can type in words like midnight, so that'll set it to the middle of the night. I can also set it to noon. There's morning, I think. There's night. There's literally just night. There's sunrise. There's day. Stuff like that. Set it back to noon real quick. There's also time. Like, I guess I should probably go over this. So you can also set it to a specific number. So let's say we make it 3000. Sets it to there. Set it back to noon. So yeah, you can do a specific number if you want to make it even more precise. I think that has something to do with how many ticks the day has been going on. But yeah, that's time slash time set. And there's also slash time add, which you could just add a certain number of ticks to the time. So make it 300. It's kind of hard to tell, but the sun, I'll make it a bigger number. Let's make it 10,000. Yeah, that moves it basically almost all the way around. So that just adds time. Set it back to noon. And then there's one more, which actually I'll just do in, or actually no, I won't do in chat. So you can also query the time, which literally just does is, all it does, so there's game time, which will say how long you've been in the world in ticks. There's also daytime, which will say, what time of day it is and that number. You can also do time query day, which I'll go and show you all those, so that just, if you look in the command box, say day is 1, because we've been playing on the world for 1 day. Sorry, you can also do daytime, which we're going to say 6,000, which means noon, and then I can also just say game time. So I've been in this world for 307,417 ticks. So yeah, so that's time query. Put it back to set noon, but yeah, that's slash time. That's not how you spell noon. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, so this next one, again, a lot of you probably know, there's slash game mode. So basically, you say you say slash game mode, then you do S, A, or C, or just spectator. So S means survival, A means adventure mode, and then C is creative mode, and then spectator is spectator mode. And actually, if you want to, you can just type in the full survival, but I like to use just S, A, and C and spectator because it's a little bit faster. Then, if you're running this in chat, you don't even have to worry about this at P. But if you're like in a command block, you're trying to set everyone else's game mode to a certain thing or someone else, you would do the selector. So I could say at A, or I could do at S if I really wanted to. There's no real reason because you don't have to put that. But yeah, basically, since I'm running from a command block, I'm just giving the nearest player, setting on survival mode. Go and set myself back to creative. But yeah, that's basically it. Pretty simple. Anyway, so this next one, slash summon, just summons entity. You already saw this earlier, so you can summon cow, and then you can also specify the position. There's some more stuff you can do, like you can put like a state, like with pillagers, you can say if it's a raid captain. I'm not gonna go over that, but they'll summon it 2 blocks above the command block. By default, it summons it 1 block above, because obviously you don't want the cow to suffocate the command block, but yeah. So, pretty simple. There's more you can do with it. That actually is a little bit complicated, but don't worry about that for now. Next one, slash weather. It's even more simple. So you just say even more simple than slash day, just slash time. You say weather, and you say thunder, or you can say rain, or you can say clear, which just toggles what the weather is. So thunder turns to a thunderstorm. So clear it. Set it back to daytime in a second, or not daytime, clear weather. It sometimes takes a second. Then you can also make it rain, which is like not a thunderstorm, but it's just raining. Then you set it back to clear. And then also, you can do weather query, which is really useless, but that just tells you what the weather is. So if we go to my box, say weather state is clear. But yeah, obviously we know that. So yeah, anyway, moving on. So slash set world spawn. So what it's gonna do is it just sets the world spawn to a specific spot. So 5 blocks above this command block, they'll set where every single player starts in the world. So if I go ahead and do that, set my game mode, survival mode. go ahead and kill myself with that mace smash. Then it spawns me up here. I think I get some spawn immunity from. And yeah, so that's that will spawn. Just pretty simple. Does that. Next one slash spawn points. Actually, let me go back into creative. Basically, say spawn point at P, which obviously is target. So that'll set my spawn point specifically to 100 blocks above. So if I go and run this, then kill myself. Uh, they'll set my spawn to 100 blocks above here, which I'm actually in an infinite death loop, or not, because I think that, I don't know, oh yeah, because I think I disabled fall damage at some point. I can't remember when I did that. But yeah, basically this puts my spawn point up there. So that's how you can set specific player spawn point. This next one, creative mode, just clears my spawn point. So that'll, I'm not gonna kill myself again, but basically that'll clear the spawn point here and also put me 10 blocks above there again. So yeah, that's all the spawn point commands. Next one, slash enchant, is a little bit annoying, honestly, and I really wish that I feel like Mojang could do way more with this, because this only works with the with items in your main hand. And basically, it'll enchant at P, and then it'll say and then you do so obviously you enchant whatever player you want, and you say sharpness, and then 5. So you can make this any enchantment you want, and then you put the level you want. This only works with vanilla enchants, which I think it'd be cool if you could go beyond that, like you can make like sharpness 10 or something. Sadly, you can't. So if I run this, it makes my sword sharpness 5. But if I do this with like a command block, it won't do it. Let's say it couldn't be added to the target item. Yeah. And it also doesn't work with armor, which I think is kind of stupid. It only works with items in your main hand. But yeah, honestly, I really, really wish you could, I feel like there's way more you could do with this, but sadly, Mojang is being annoying. This next one, slash clear. So, you can make this to clear certain item from a player's inventory. So it clears a glass block, because it says glass block. Or, you can just clear every item from inventory, like that. Or what you can do is you can say grass block, and then you also get to specify the data. There's no data for grass blocks, but like I said, with potions, if you want to clear a specific kind of potion, then you'd have to put the data in, but by default it's 0. And then you can do the max amount to take away. So let's say 4. Wrong button. Grass block. It's gonna do. It's only gonna take away 4. But say I have like 3. Instead of popping up an error, it'll just say the max amount to take away is 4, so it'll only clear 3 if I may have 3 of those. So yeah, pretty simple. And then this next one, slash effect, lets you gives you custom potion effects, which unlike slash enchant, you can go up to 255 on the level instead of just like 2, like most like pretty much all other levels. So basically, the way the syntax goes for this is you effect whatever the target player, type in the effects, speed in this case, for 10 seconds, then the level, which is 5. So that gives me speed 5 for 10 seconds. Then there's one more, true or false, for whether or not you hide particles. So true would hide the particles, like the potion effect particles. False would keep them in. So you can see, got F5, no particles, and I'm nice and fast like this. But only for 10 seconds. So actually, you can combine this with some, you can actually combine this with some stuff with slash replace item, I think, and you can do a whole bunch of stuff to make like custom potions, even though that's not really a thing in Bedrock. But yeah. Anyway, so the next one, I just want to get these other. So you can do slash tell and slash message. So basically, or MSG, I should say. So basically, what this does, I'm going to go over this just because some people don't know this. So basically, you can tell specific players messages. So I'll say command block whispers to you hello, but if I say Apollo were on the world, it'd say Elmail if it whispers to you like hello. And then you can also do tell, and actually slash W works as well for some reason. So tell, same thing, and you can even do W like that. And I'll say yeah, so all the same things. 3 different things for that. But yeah, so last one, slash tag, which is very useful actually, but also very simple. So way it works is you say you slash tag target player. You do there's 3 subcommands: add, remove, and list. So add just adds the tag. So I have add, so if nothing shows up in chat because I have it turned off because I have chat spam with those commands earlier. But if I go under slash tag add s and I try to remove it, one of the options will be test. And also, if I try to, let's go ahead and list. So if it will say, I should probably, I'll do it in here because I have send command feedback off. So tag at p list. Look at the command list. I still have no tags. But if I go ahead and add the test tag, I did not do that. That's stupid. Tag at s add test. I don't know why I did that. Now if I go and run this in the command log, say I have one tag and it's test. So yeah. So I'll go and remove that tag. And yeah. Okay, so that's all the commands I think you really need to know for the most part. Actually, there's one more slash execute. Again, I highly recommend watching my execute command video right after this. That was my first command tutorial on the channel, and also I think it's the most useful command, and it's also my favorite command because there's just so much you can do with it. So I recommend watching that video right after this one if you want to become a commands novice, I would say. So you kind of beyond a beginner, but you're more a little bit more advanced. But yeah, if you know slash execute command, you could do some pretty cool stuff. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, please subscribing, like the video if you enjoyed it. Do all that stuff. We have other content on the channel. We do like Bed Wars and stuff, like Cassius and Apollo friends. We have like our friend group. We made this channel I think 'cause we were bored after track practice or something. Yeah. Anyways, so please consider subscribing. We do like Hypixel games. I think we might start a survival series at some point. Yeah, anyway, so stay tuned. Also, I'll keep making command tutorials. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day and see you next one.